Every Yu-Gi-Oh series has had a great number of characters. The issue is, not all of these characters progress the story or have important character arcs, and are quite often involved in the story for a very long time without affecting it whatsoever. Additionally, having a large core cast leads to characters stealing screen time from others, and there's no better example of this than Akiza from Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds, who saw a massive drop off in screen time in the Dark Signers arc, and it's a shame because she was a character with great potential and a fan favorite for sure, and a character who in my opinion had a great introduction. It's believed that due to the popularity of Crow's deck, he was favored in terms of screen time over Akiza, and this is a very well known instance of this problem. However, there are several more, and in other instances it's problematic in a different way. Take the core cast from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series. The first problem being there are these fringe characters that aren't clearly defined as part of the core cast. They don't affect the story very much, and they're basically just cheerleaders. Think Tristan, Taya, and Duke Devlin. Yes, I understand that their role in the story is as Yugi's friends, but do they really add anything to the story? Are they likable enough to warrant so much screen time? Or do we even know enough about them to like them? And what this leads to is simply wasted time. And actually, the unfortunate truth of it is Duke Devlin was quite an intriguing character when he first came into the story. However, when he merged with the main group, he just became part of Yugi's cheerleading squad. The result of this problem is simply wasted potential. We could have continued learning about Duke Devlin, seeing some of his backstory, and maybe seeing some interesting development from him. But as time passed, he was made to be more and more uninteresting, and actually seemed like less of a complete character. In an even worse scenario with Akiza, we had already grown attached to this character, and I'm sure she's a lot of people's second favorite in the series, only behind Yusei himself. But to completely reduce the importance of such a crucial character earlier on in the series is a huge mistake. My frustration with this doesn't come from the fact that there are characters more important than others, and actually I think having good side characters really helps build the universe that we're watching, and it's also natural for some characters to phase out of the story as they're less relevant. And I'm bringing this up because having a big cast isn't necessarily a problem, as long as you manage the characters well, and there's a big difference between phasing out a character and completely minimizing their role. And Akiza from Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds was not phased out, and what happened to her character is more like being replaced. And I'll show you what I mean by comparing her to another character who does get phased out of the story, but actually makes a return at one point, and that's Kalin Kessler, one of my personal favorites, who exits the story at a very fitting time after a defeat to Yusei, concluding his time as a member of the Dark Signers. When he does return to the story, he shows immense guilt for his actions during the Dark Signers arc, and there is further development for his character when he returns to the story, and because of this, it doesn't feel like he's being forced back in. It feels authentic and suitable for the story. Conversely, Akiza after the Dark Signers arc is completely sidelined. She trains to become a turbo duelist for the World Racing Grand Prix to be a substitute for Team 5Ds, and when she actually gets to turbo duel, she loser! It's just genuinely unfortunate that her as a duelist is no longer relevant. Her character basically becomes a cheerleader and is somewhat relevant as a friend slash love interest to Yusei. And she's still a signer, I guess, because they probably couldn't undo that, but it goes to show that having a big cast can cause problems like this when you suddenly choose to prioritize a different character. But anyway, I feel like I've got my point across by now, so if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know who you think is the most disrespected character in Yu-Gi-Oh!